You can't have a wedding if you don't plan it?
Yeah.
It's like a flash mob wedding?
Yeah.
That would be a great wedding.
Yeah.
I'm Priya Parker.
And I'm Anand Giridharadas.
And we are here to answer your most pressing questions about
Wedding planning.
My cousin asked me to be a bridesmaid in her wedding,
Congrats.
but I'm not able to travel for the pre-festivities. How do I be the best bridesmaid while missing some of the events?
Oh, great question.
We think about wedding invitations as like this simple one invitation to our guests. But actually, in most weddings, regardless of the culture, there's actually multiple invitations to different groups, to different moments. And one of the places where there actually can be both joy, but also a lot of hidden conflict is in choosing and then asking, and then the expectations around your, we'll call a wedding party, meaning bridesmaids and groomsmen or whatever language you might choose. So in this very specific case, my advice to you would be to first pick up the phone and talk to your cousin. And conflict and hurt feelings often happen because people have very different expectations of what a good bridesmaid looks like, or what a good groomsperson or what a good sibling looks like. And so I would call them up. I would tell them that you can't actually make either of these events, but you want to support her in the ways that that you can, and have a conversation with her about it. I think very specifically, there are so many different ways to actually help a bride or a groom in a wedding and all the way up. And particularly when someone is actually asking, like, how can I help in these other moments? That's an opportunity to actually turn the volume up. You'll also find out if those events are really, really, really important to her. And she may come to the decision that actually it doesn't make sense for you to be a bridesmaid, but maybe she'll give you another role to read a poem. But basically, an invitation like this is the beginning of the conversation, not the end.
Can I say a controversial opinion I have about this?
Yes.
I think it's somehow gotten very normal for people getting married to ask for really outlandish forms of quite demanding participation from other people, like spending large amounts of money on a dress they'll never wear again, or an outfit they'll never wear again, or showing up for different events. And I don't know, I think it's, if you're hosting a thing, you should host the thing. I think hosting a thing and then like having an expectation that lots of people go broke for your thing, I don't know, feels a little off.
I think this is another place in which we are kind of on autopilot about the forms. Like, I have to have a bachelor party, or I have to have a bachelorette party, or I have to have a wedding shower. And if we kind of like zoom out and ask, like, what is the purpose of these groups? What is the purpose of these parties? At some level, it's a way of honoring a smaller group of people within your larger group of people to say, you're special to me. And to think the same way that we're talking about, you know, having these conversations first, which is like, what are the ways we want to honor specific people in our community? Do we want to actually give people specific roles? And is there an event or a gathering that's meaningful for us to do ahead of time? And what are people's like expectations, abilities? How are we actually asking them to help us? And also, how much money are we asking them to spend? Money is a really important part of weddings that we often don't talk about, and that lead to enormous, if not conflict, resentment, because people have very different abilities to meaningfully engage. And depending on what you're asking them to do, you could actually, you know, cause a lot of, put a lot of people out.
Would you agree with the following statement? If you're dictating what specific outfit I can wear to your wedding, you should be buying me that outfit. You shouldn't be dictating to me the exact outfit and forcing me to buy it?
Yes.
We get canceled. It's been a while. Are we getting old, Nick?
Well, I think that, there's actually been waves of weddings. Like, I feel like we were invited to a bunch of weddings maybe in our 20s. And now, over the last couple of years, we've been invited to a lot of weddings again. And actually, to officiate various friends' weddings, which is also sort of a trend.
Imagine how many weddings we'd been invited to if people weren't afraid of Priya analyzing their weddings. We'd be going to.
Yeah, I don't know
we'd
why
be
we're
going
not
to
invited
so
to
many weddings.
I don't know why we're not invited to a lot of
Yeah.
weddings.
We definitely are invited to less dinner parties than we invite people to. And I do not think, like, I think if, I'm not saying I want to be married to someone else, but I think if I was married to someone else,
Wow.
I
You
would
would
be
get more
invited to a lot more
invitations.
dinner parties. But people are very scared of the Priya lens being applied to their events. And they would rather not have her fun presence, but also not have her analytical keenness than have them both.
What they don't understand.
And I'm getting no,
You're getting no love. What they don't understand
invite
is
me solo. I'll come solo.
what they don't understand is I am not judging them. I'm as a guest. I love being a guest. I am rooting for them. What I am actually wanting them to do is take the lens that I have and help them realize that they don't need a fancy house. They don't need like the right forks. They don't need the right like education to create meaning. I am on a mission at some level, which is helping people realize that this is not rocket science, and it is actually up to us to create the meaning that we want in our lives, in part because the old ways are no longer working, or in a lot of cases we know how to do them. But that doesn't mean don't gather. It means think about how you actually want people to come together.
You want to democratize gathering.
I want to democratize gathering.
Socially awkward people can gather.
Some of the best gatherers are people who identify as introverts, who identify as socially awkward. Like so many people I interviewed in The Art of Gathering identified as loners, like their words, not mine. And I thought this was so interesting because we think of gathering, of people who gather as like these like big personalities, but so many of the most thoughtful gatherers I know and that I've interviewed are introverts. And I asked somebody, like, why do you think this is? I asked one of the people who identified that way, and she said to me, because I don't like so many of the gatherings I go to. I feel so awkward and uncomfortable that I create the gatherings I wish existed in the world. And you should too.